Breaking news. Before we begin the final episode in this series, a quick note from Jason Wasuko and Glenn Williams, co-hosts of the Smuggler's Galaxy podcast and co-creators of Rogue Fun and the upcoming Rogue Fun 2 event. If you'd like to attend Rogue Fun 2 at the end of April, there are only a few tickets left. Please don't miss this one. Incredible meetups and panels, one of the biggest Star Wars room sales outside of Celebration, and with the caliber of collectors attending, you know there are going to be some really rare items for sale there. But really, the selling point for this one is being with 200 of the most passionate and knowledgeable and friendly collectors for an entire weekend in beautiful Georgia. Take it away, guys.
Hey everyone, this is Jason.
And Glenn.
And we just wanted to jump on here real quick to let you know that Rogue Fun 2 is happening. It's called Rogue Fun 2 Fun and Villainy. It's happening next May 26th, 2026. May 2nd, to be exact. Why not be precise?
Yes.
And it is open to everyone. It is a private group, but we just made it that way because it is a ticketed event. We don't want, to have people show up and they didn't pay for a ticket and, all that stuff. So we're just trying to control that a little bit. But that doesn't mean that you're not invited. So and it's a private group, so you won't be able to find it and we won't make it searchable. Facebook does that. So if you really wanted to join us for Rogue Fun 2, what you have to do is join the Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors. We welcome everybody. That's an open group. Once you're invited, just make sure you answer all the questions. Once you're invited, find the Rogue Fun teaser video. You can just search Rogue Fun in that group and just comment that you want to be part of the Rogue Fun page, and we will send you a link and you'll be able to join us.
Yeah, I hope to see you guys there. It was a good time last time. I hope it'll be even better this go round. So may the fun be with us.
May the fun be with us. Wretched hive of fun and villainy.
Yes.
Must be cautious.
May 2nd, 2026 in Atlanta. Well, not really Atlanta, but close enough to Atlanta.
Close enough to be called Atlanta.
It's close enough to be called Atlanta.
Yeah.
And with that, we return you to our regularly scheduled episode. Sunday, May 5th. The 2024 Rogue Fun event was officially coming to a close. It had been an amazing, connective weekend for the 200 Star Wars collectors who had purchased tickets and traveled to the Kennesaw region of Georgia. The Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors had given all of us a weekend to remember, with a seemingly endless array of Star Wars panels, regional activities, room sales, and group meals and excursions. And Sunday morning and afternoon continued the festivities on the way to a proper farewell to the weekend. After saying goodbye to a few of the modern prototype collectors heading home, Ohio's Clifton Boggs, Arizona's Brandon Vise, and I had a modern prototype collector's breakfast of our own at a nearby restaurant. Returning back to the hotel, Clifton and I wished Brandon a safe flight, said our goodbyes, and got ready for an event-filled day. The two of us were going to take part in the Kennesaw Run, a tour of 3 Georgia resident Star Wars collections. After that, we planned to head to Bowlero, the Lucky Strike bowling alley, for the final group event later that afternoon. There was still so much to do, and so much to see, and we were thankful to have had these remaining hours together, as a massive group of Star Wars collectors assembled in one location that weekend. This is the final day of the incredible 2024 Rogue Fun event in Kennesaw. This is a fitting and packed ending to one of the best collector trips in the galaxy. This is why you need to join us for the next Rogue Fun in April. And this is Star Wars, Prototypes and Production.
From Coruscant to Tatooine, every planet in between. Star Wars, prototypes and production. With your host, David Quinn.
It's a trap!
Yes, master.
Whoa, we're gonna have company!
Have to stand and fight.
The more you tighten your grip, John, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
The Force will be with you, always.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. We got to see Anthony off. He was heading back home to Alabama, and then Clifton, Brandon, and I went back to a restaurant. It's called Morning Shift, and it was really, great for breakfast. And we've begun the Kennesaw Run a little late, but we are now stopping at Tim's place, Tim Connor's place. I've never seen it before. Can't wait to see it as we're standing outside. And we're about to walk in, and we're going to head to Glenn's. The Kennesaw Run, a play on the Kessel Run from Star Wars, featured stops at the homes of Rogue Fun co-creators Jason Wilsuko and Glenn Williams. And it also offered a tour by Star Wars mega collector Tim Connor, whose entire house was decorated floor to ceiling in Star Wars memorabilia. This is not an exaggeration. It's one of those things you have to experience to truly understand. At one point, I was talking to Tim about his collection, and Steve Sansweet was in the room with us. When someone asked Steve what he thought about Tim's house, Steve said he was speechless. He had never seen anything like it. And Steve is the owner of Rancho Obi-Wan, the world's largest collection of Star Wars memorabilia. As amazing as Tim's house is, and it is absolutely wild, the best parts of the tour were the new friendships I made during my time there, as well as the further building upon some established friendships and creating new memories together. And getting to explore Tim's collection with other collectors made it infinitely more special. So let's step back through Tim's front door and experience a true one-of-a-kind masterpiece, a Star Wars dream home. I'm here with Tim Thale, and we're now standing inside Tim Connor's house, and it is it's ridiculous. It's crazy. I've never seen this much Star Wars, but you just described it the perfect way. So
well, Jerry Hancock put it this way. He said, if Pee Wee Herman lived in a galaxy far, far away, this is where he would live.
Yes.
Everything is Star Wars. Don't look for food in these cupboards. It's Star Wars.
So we are in his kitchen, and these are your typical wooden, oh my gosh. Okay, these are your typical wooden cupboards. And so I opened one expecting to see, glasses and maybe bowls, like cereal bowls, and no, it's all like Hallmark keepsake ornaments. That's insane. I think I had a conversation with Narayan, Glenn, and Jason, and I asked them where he eats if all this stuff is in the kitchen, and I think they said somebody asked him and they said he eats out. So yeah, you just see this. Oh wow. Okay, a larger one. He has all, my gosh, boxes of Star Wars stuff. Kylo Ren, BB-8. Wow, fantastic.
Food items, but not to be opened.
Okay, yeah, Star Wars Mandalorian fruit roll-ups. I haven't seen that. Episode 2 cereal. Wow.
I didn't know they made Star Wars lava lamps. This is pretty cool.
Amazing. Okay, and a cupboard that would normally have. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So he has popcorn containers that are Star Wars in a closet, Pez dispensers. He has an entire wall of Pez dispensers as well. Some beautiful Force Awakens, even Rise of Skywalker, beautiful art for that. Chewbacca bowls. Wow. This is insane. See this?
Where's the refrigerator? Is that in there?
That's a really good observation. I think he decided not to go with the refrigerator.
There's no bed in this house either.
No?
No, come to the bedrooms. There's no beds.
Oh my gosh, wait. Oh my gosh. I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen anything like this before ever. I'm gonna take a picture.
Yeah.
I keep hearing people say this is amazing, and it is honestly completely overwhelming. I've never seen anything like this before, and I truly mean this. Literally every single square inch of Tim's house is covered in Star Wars stuff, and it's not like, oh, there's a room that's covered in Star Wars stuff. It's every closet, every door, behind every door. In the bathroom, it has like a Darth Vader black toilet, and then it just posters all over, including over the shower as well. He has it's the silhouette of Baby Yoda, but like in green, and it's a message board, and you can just take letters and put it on it. So it says here, Rogue Fun, Star Wars May 5th, visitors welcome to the Kennesaw Run, may the Force be with you. He has a ton of Baby Yoda, Mandalorian stuff. I've just never seen any. Matt Fox, have you ever seen anything like this before in your life?
I have seen something like this, but dreams of what I do with my stuff. If I didn't have, a loving wife who can pull me back from time to time.
Oh,
say,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, this is, I don't even know what to say. I mean, like, we're in another room now, and it's like vintage and modern carded Star Wars figures. So there's like, I don't even know where to start there. There's like the original trilogy collection on one wall, and then it goes into the vintage collection pretty heavily on another wall. There's Black Series in front of us, including he has the Black Series TIE Fighter, the First Order TIE Fighter, which is huge. And then on top of it, every single box and every single multi-pack. And then underneath it, it's just rows of Black Series figures. He has all the vintage collection vehicles and stuff boxed on the other wall. And behind us, it continues, and all the Black Series stuff is underneath. And this is just one room. Would you do something like this if you could?
There's I love the case. A lot of collections. This is very well done. This is, you can see as much of it as you can see given the space that's available. And I've seen people who just hoard in their house, and it's basically a warehouse. And then the people who just pick the pieces that they want. And he has it, and so he wants to have it on display. Yeah. And if you gave me the square footage, I would do the same thing. I'm sure. But this is, the effort that has gone into this is remarkable, and the things are well maintained. Mm-hmm. He's got good. It's overwhelming. It is, and not in a. I've been in places where it's like this is. I'm uncomfortable being in a place that's this crowded, this overwhelming.
No,
but this is just interesting to look at.
It is. I think you and I should take maybe the next 20 minutes and just open every single carded figure and box item here, but not tell them. We'll wait.
20 minutes? It would take 20 hours.
Yeah, that's the truth too. Fantastic. Alon, what do you think of this?
I'm so blown away. This is an incredible event here.
Matt and I are going to start to open all the boxes and take out the carded figures. So if you want to help us, you can.
Okay, great.
I think he'll be fine with it. That should be no problem.
I laughed that Doug just walked up to him and said, "So, where's your collection?" I get this is all your decor, but where's the collection?
I mean, like literally every square inch is just covered in Star Wars stuff. So if you're a Star Wars fan, it's kind of a nice thing.
If I were willing to sacrifice a bed and food
fridge,
in my kitchen,
where does he sleep?
I think we're gonna have to ask him.
It's got to be in the basement.
Okay, basement.
Lower level. That would be my guess.
Basement's okay. That makes sense. But I wonder if he has Star Wars stuff in the basement too.
How could he not?
Oh my gosh. Oh, and he has a closet back here. Oh no, he has. Okay, so it's another bathroom, and it is completely filled. This is a smaller one. Yeah, and it's just filled top to bottom. Alon, are you having fun?
So much fun. Absolutely.
Worth the trip and everything?
Completely worth it.
That's awesome. I'm
right.
glad.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to come to an event and just to run into you again and have this be just a common thing now.
Right. I'm really stoked. Here, let's do a little picture in this.
I don't know that I've seen this sail barge in the box.
So I'm hanging out with Lon Bartlett and Trevor Wenzel, and you guys traveled in together?
That's right.
Right. And how long did it take you to travel in?
Door to door, about maybe 5.5, 6 hours.
Okay, nice. And it's been a good weekend for both of you. Lon and I were just talking about it.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend. How could it not be?
Well, on that regard, I both have sold a little bit of stuff and then bought a lot of stuff.
So it evened out?
Yeah, I bought more than I sold. Yeah. And then the level to which I've deepened my connections and my relationships with people, was really great. Like hanging out with you in person for the first time. There's a number of other people where I knew them online, and now, I've got a experience to pair with that. And then people like Todd Chamberlain, I met him at a celebration. Unfortunately, so many years ago. So now this is a chance to go a little deeper. Or last year I met Sam and Hannah. And so just I've talked to them, multiple times this weekend.
And their swag was absolutely incredible too. Yeah, they're wonderful people. Oh man,
they're so sweet.
Did you? Was there for each of you? Was there a favorite moment so far from the weekend?
When you haven't been in school for 25. Yeah, it's hard to pass a standardized.
I don't know. I think probably the two nighttime parties at Jason Olsuko's house and then at Narayan's house. I think both of those, they're purely social. Room sales was cool. The collecting track panels were cool, but those were a little, not the social part, right? It's sitting, focusing, listening to people talk. Yeah, the hanging out, the parties were really the key thing for me.
I agree. That's really cool.
I agree that the parties really were the highlight, and what I can emphasize is in the past, I've enjoyed that other people have been bringing swag and sharing it so generously. So this is the year where I have made my own swag for the first time. And what I mentioned to my wife was, it's such a great social lubricant. I can walk up to somebody.
Absolutely.
That's right. I can just be like, hey, have you gotten this patch set yet? And, hand it out. So it's an easy way to introduce yourself and immediately get into a conversation.
And to introduce yourself with something that is either funny or creative or both,
or has a story behind it.
Absolutely, yeah. And you are an award winner as well too.
So when you said what's the highlight, I remember thinking, hey, winning third place in the swag competition. Not that it's really a competition, but just to know that so many people thought our idea
and admired your idea.
Absolutely. That felt really good.
Yeah. So you and Tim Thale did that together.
That's right. Did it with Tim Thale.
Yeah, high retention rate because
very cool. I think those are two really great moments, and it's interesting too because we have some of those same shared experiences, and then we also have these little kind of personal ones, running into this person here, going to this person's house, and seeing things. So it's been a tremendous weekend. I'm trying to capture some of this because it's so hard to even we're standing in a room now that I've just never seen anything like this before too, and this is like just part of the Rogue Fun experience.
It's like so much to take in. It's so overwhelming. Just this one room here, and you're asking questions, and I'm trying to process everything that happened this whole weekend.
Yes.
And I'm almost like brain dead. Like I have no idea what I just did the last few days.
And you're like a dog like catching a squirrel where you just keep looking around everywhere like this. I keep doing that the whole time too.
And it's not over yet. From here we have to go to FedEx to ship a few things back home.
Smart choice.
And then we're going bowling before we head to the airport.
I will see you at bowling
and lunch. So what would you say has been your highlight so far this weekend?
We're working on bringing in the students that we know.
I think my highlight has been seeing people that I haven't seen in years, seeing people I've never met before, but also taking a lot of what was going on over the last few years, a lot virtually and in the groups and stuff, and then putting it all into one location for one weekend, and just the most overwhelming and fantastic experience. So, that was just, but yeah, thank you for asking. That's good. So I hope that's a solid answer for you.
Totally.
And then I think just again having meals and just sitting in the lobby and just talking to people, randomly running into you, randomly running into Trevor and Tom Boone and Bruce and just everybody else. Oh yeah.
We're pausing for a photo.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh no,
we're good.
He's recording.
And I have a question for you when you're done.
Okay.
Sorry, a really weird question.
Oh, here, ask away. Yeah.
So I think I heard on your podcast from a long time ago.
Sure.
So you're from New York.
Yeah, I'm Dave.
Dave, I'm George.
George.
Did you say Bayshore, New York, somewhere in your life?
Bayshore, Long Island. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Bayshore. That is
Did
my
you?
hometown. Yes, and nobody talks about Bayshore, and so it is crazy that I heard someone Bayshore. This is probably like 2 years ago, but like. I think early on your podcast, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would go.
That's not a voice. Sorry, I just recognized it.
Hi,
I'm
Dave.
Stu.
Stu, pleasure to meet you. Very nice. Oh, this is another random awesome thing. So Stu and George. Okay. So I would go out there. My grandparents lived out there, and actually the first Star Wars toy show I ever went to was 1992. There was a flyer for it. It was at a Jewish synagogue on a Sunday where they weren't using it, so they just had everybody come down the basement and I saw Power of the Force figures for the first time in my entire life. So yeah,
it's quite nice. Yeah, we missed each other by 4 years because I graduated high school in 1989 and then moved to Florida. So
oh wow, okay.
So where did your grandparents live in Bayshore? Do you remember?
They lived on Turn Court. Actually, my really cool story. So my grandfather, when he had moved in, he was just moving in, and the author Mario Puzo, who wrote The Godfather, was looking around, and my grandfather talked to him, and basically, I from what it sounds like, he convinced him to move there, and so Puzo got a house, and but beautiful spot.
Bayshore was a wonderful experience growing up. So
really,
it was great. Thank you, and I didn't mean to interrupt your comments.
Yeah, Jones Beach, you had all these beautiful
so I used to work at Captree Boat Basin and the Bayshore Marina. I remember throwing like fishing lines off.
I did see him go crabbing
with my
and all
grandfather.
that.
I'm not very good at it. I liked baseball then, so I would start picking up rocks and throwing them because. I did not have the patience that he had to do what he was doing, so it was great. Maybe sorry.
No, by all means, George. It was an absolute pleasure. What do you think of this?
Nice to meet you.
Is this your first time seeing this?
This is the first time I've actually been to a collecting event.
Really?
Yes. So
this is your first collecting event
ever? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And I will tell you that actually I listened to your podcast, part 1 and part 2, on the way here. So I live in Columbia, South Carolina now.
Oh, nice.
And it was the first time that. I've been to 3 celebrations and always have been a wallflower and enjoyed
are you an artist or
the experience. And then I went to room sales in Anaheim for the first time, and like everybody, get pulled back in by Disney and all the news. And you go back and try to retrace your childhood through action figures, and it turns into, not for me this, but the friendship part of it, or the camaraderie part of it. Yeah, so
as your first meetup, then, how did you find this? Like, did you find it easy to talk to people?
So yes. So I actually have a different funny story. So Rich Alott, who wrote the vintage collection, the new book about the vintage collection figures that are. Yeah, I think this is the vintage collection.
Absolutely horrible guy. We were chatting last night, hanging out.
Ironically enough, during COVID, he wrote a book, and I got on a Kickstarter, and I ordered a book. It came a year or so later, and there's a Post-it note on my copy of the book, and it said, "Hey George, hope you're well, Angie Alott," and then in parentheses green, and then I put it off to the side and wasn't looking through the book, and Angie was a good friend and roommate of. She was a friend of my ex-girlfriend 20 or 15 years earlier in Orlando, and so I sent a little text through Instagram to them, or message through Instagram.
That's a really sweet and cool connection.
It is a crazy connection. It is a small world connection, and so Rich is married to my ex-girlfriend's really good friend, and then when we were in Anaheim, I was telling him I was going to Celebration. He's the one who connected me to going to room sales, and then I got a message through Instagram. Hey, are you going to come to the collecting event? And I was like, I don't know, I'm too shy. And he's like, no, you got to come because there's lots of really cool people here. And then fast forward 2 days, and I'm talking to you, and I listened to your podcast on the way here.
And we're hanging out in a room with a ton of collectors around a ton of Star Wars stuff. And the legendary Trevor Wenzel as well, too. So it's get better than that.
George, again, you and I talked yesterday.
Yeah.
I tried to convince I tried to convince my buddy, and he was really focused on a loop is what he was looking for. So yeah, he really.
Well, if he changes his mind, I'm
actually sent
I'm
him the
open for
picture.
talking about it.
Yep, sounds great.
Did you guys pick up anything from room sales?
Yeah, I picked up a bootleg white Han Solo blaster. Sealed in the package. I got that from Justin Haney.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, you gotta send me a picture of that. That's fantastic.
I'll show you a picture right now if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that you're.
Did you pick up any?
No, I just actually was popping in and out and just enjoying the atmosphere is what it was, and mostly taking it in is what I was doing.
Well, George, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
And
George, good to see you again.
Yeah.
Actually said, I was interested.
See you on the Kennesaw Run. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so it's a white laser pistol. It looks exactly like the one the Kenner one, and it has like a red. Is that like a translucent plastic or?
I believe so. I guess I didn't really study it yet, but yeah, it's got the flap, so it's a box with the flap in the back, right? I don't know. I just love this piece. It's beautiful. I had the Han Solo blaster as a kid. I picked up a loose one. I don't know, maybe 9 months ago, and I don't know what I did with it. So now I have a replacement that better fits
still
my.
sealed, completely sealed.
Yeah, and this one better fits my focus too, because I mostly focus on bootlegs and knockoffs and stuff. So to me, this is just a beautiful piece, and this really made.
It looks like it's in
room
perfect
sales.
condition too.
Yeah. So the two items I picked up this weekend was this and the K2SO cereal box swag from the charity auction. And I'm just super happy with those two items.
That's fantastic. It makes the trip, and you got two really cool pieces, two really unique pieces too as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we now have what, like, hey, how are you doing? Good. How are you? Good. Are you enjoying this so far?
Yeah. So far, it's
Kennesaw Run's going well.
This is my first stop.
Okay, this is my first stop too. So yeah, I think we've all logged into here now too.
Yeah, I think we've somehow been all filtered into this room.
I like it. Yeah. So there's
Yeah, that's one of the few things.
about 13 of us here.
Are we above the fire limit right now? Is that what you're trying to
I think
say?
we're at the, yeah.
I was going to say where there's 13 of us in a room that could fit 12.
And we're also standing around like this. I think we should have kind of a meeting of the Star Wars mind.
This is Danny Katzel would freak out over this because the load, the bearing weight of the floor is probably approaching max between the cases and the. And everyone.
I thought you were talking about the book.
No, the book's going to push us over the top.
Yeah, so that's the Kenner Action Figures book that weighs about the same amount as I do.
Glass is what that is.
All right, so we're going to go through here, and then we're going to head to Glenn's.
Awesome. Now everybody's leaving. We're all
So we're hanging out with Tim Connor now.
Yeah, so Tim, I've been through your whole place, and it's just absolutely astounding. I've never seen or even imagined anything like this for a collection. And I was wondering if there's a piece that really stands out to you that's maybe the most meaningful piece, or something that, I don't know, someone special gave to you? Or
I think it's the first figures it's the first five or eight figures there, the orange card ones.
So Power of the Force.
The Power of the Force, yeah, because that's what started it all for me. So I think it's those. And then lately I've started collecting vintage figures, so carded vintage.
Mm-hmm.
So those are probably some of my most prized possessions, I guess.
Wow.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Fun fact, Tim has never seen the original trilogy.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, it's on in his living room right now.
That's the original.
He purposely avoids it.
Okay, I've definitely not had enough sleep because I'm gullible here.
I saw it in the theater because I'm 55, so I saw it when it first was released. Does that still light up? It doesn't still light up, does it? That lights up.
No,
I got distracted there. Oh, does it? It does light up.
Oh, that's really cool. So you have, so that's the.
That's my most prized possession, right there.
Clifton and I then drove to Glenn's house. Because we had started the Kennesaw Run late and had spent so much time exploring Tim's home, we had a shorter amount of time left to view Glenn's collection. After all, as one of the co-creators of Rogue Fun, Glenn had to make sure he was at the bowling event on time and wasn't delayed by us. Still, Glenn and his wife Mandy were excellent hosts, and they were so generous with the time they spent with us. Glenn gave me a personal tour of his sprawling collection, which filled an entire basement. He walked me through his Wampa-focused display, as well as his Galactic Heroes prototypes and production pieces, which includes characters from the original trilogy all the way through Rebels and later series. I wish I could have recorded our chat. I loved going piece by piece and shelf by shelf of each display, as Glenn narrated the tour and answered the many questions I had. But I was so enthralled by what I was seeing, and our chat was happening so organically, that I forgot to record it. Glenn and I have been friends since we first met in 2018 at the Nashville ICCC Star Wars Convention. Meeting him and some of his fellow club members was my introduction to the Georgia Alliance, and the starting point of friendships that led to my traveling to Georgia for Rogue Fun. And while I had seen photos of his collection over the years, finally getting to see it in person was a very special part of that trip. In addition to collecting Star Wars items, Glenn is also one of the foremost collectors of another Kenner line, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Glenn owns some of the most interesting and key pieces of pre-production items from the line, and seeing all of them in one giant display case was, in the words of the time-traveling duo, most triumphant. Mandy is also a collector, who focuses on the Ewoks. After seeing Glenn's collection, Mandy took me on a personal tour with two newer friends, Hannah and Sam Bennett. The four of us spent time in Mandy's collection room, seeing collecting from her perspective, as well as which items meant something to her and the stories behind them. And it was in that room that my friendship with Sam and Hannah solidified. I had loved the swag they produced for the event, and our conversation there started with their love for the prequels and covered everything from prototype collecting to their thoughts on the event itself and on life in general. By the time Clifton and I left Glenn and Mandy's home, I felt closer to the Williams couple and had made two new friends in Hannah and Sam. And here's Hannah to give us her take on Sunday's Kennesaw Run.
Hey guys, this is Hannah Bennett. I wanted to, mention a specific story from Sunday, but also just kind of shout out a few people as well from Rogue Fun. So my specific story from Sunday is that Sunday was when we were on the Kennesaw Run, which is where, if you've never been to any of the Georgia events, it's where you go around to some of the specific houses of some of the people who have large collection rooms in the area. And when we were at Glenn's house, that's where Sam and I finally really got to talk to David Quinn, who does this podcast, and it's where we really got to meet him and get to know him well. And that was one of the really fun parts about this trip. And we've talked with David about how great it was that we got to actually really meet him and, chat at that time. I mean, we spent probably, I don't know, 30 minutes in Mandy's room, in Mandy's collection room, just talking to him about his collection and art and different things that we like collecting. And I think our collections are pretty different from each other's, but it was really fun just to sit there and chat with him. And I think that's one of the really fun things about Rogue Fun and all of these different regional collecting events is getting to meet people who, not only are from different areas, but also have very different collections from your own, getting to see them in person and also getting to connect with other people. And this, Rogue Fun specifically, not only did we meet him there, but it's where I got to meet Josie. And Josie is now one of my dear friends. It's where I met Katie Lukens, and Katie Lukens also is one of my good friends in the swag community. I could name a million different names of people who we actually met for the first time at Rogue Fun, and now I would consider one of our good friends. So I think Rogue Fun is really special in that way. It's really good for connecting with people in the community. and really getting to talk one-on-one and meet some of the faces that maybe you've heard about or you know on Facebook, but that you don't know personally. So for us, it was really fun in that way, that we got to know quite a few different people. So I loved Rogue Fun for that. And, you know, I'm excited for the next one. Hopefully we'll get to meet even more people.
And here's Sam and Hannah with a funny story that occurred before leaving the hotel that morning.
Hey folks, Sam and Hannah Bennett here again. Had a funny story about checking out of the hotel on Sunday prior to going to the Kennesaw Run. So, picked up some fun things at Rogue Fun during that Saturday, and then I think even maybe Friday as well. So we had it in the hotel room, and so then that day as we were checking out, before checking out, I was loading the car. So I was taking stuff down and loading it all up. And one of the items that we purchased during the auction was a Aura Singh replica rifle. That was it's 6.5 feet tall. It's huge, and there's no. It just looks like a replica.
It looks authentic.
Yeah, it looks like it's a very well done prop. Really cool piece.
It looks, but if you had no idea of anything about Star Wars, it looks like a sniper rifle.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know about guns and you don't know about Star Wars,
yeah,
you could probably confuse it for a gun.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that when I realized I had to take this thing through a hotel, of which there were other guests who were not there for Rogue Fun, and get it to the car and get it packed and not had police called. So I just go, oh, okay, it's fine. It's early in the morning. What are the odds that I'm going to even bump into anyone? So I call the elevator, and I get in, and then I think right after me, a whole family, like 2 parents and 2 or 3 kids, all get in who were not there for Rogue Fun. And I've just got this Aura Singh rifle. That's all I have. I didn't bring anything else with me. So I just have this prop gun that doesn't say or look like prop anywhere on it. And I was just, this family was just looking really, really weird, very kind of sheepish. But then I explained. I was like, it's a prop. And I think that put them a little bit more at ease, but it was still a little bit of okay, how long until police show up? I gotta drop the prop gun.
Made us think twice about what we buy at auctions
yes.
in the future.
Yes. But no, it was worth it though, because I love that prop.
It's a good prop.
Yeah.
And let's check in with Glenn to see what Sunday morning was like for him.
It's Glenn again. So after the blur of the weekend and staying up till all hours on Saturday night, I had to be up I felt like early, fairly 7-ish on Sunday morning, because we were doing the Kennesaw Run, which is something that Tim, Jason, and I have been doing for the past few years, because our houses are pretty close together, and you get sort of 3 different collections that you can do in a few hours. But we started that, and there again, another blur of 2-3 hours. I look up and Steve Sansweet's in my collection. How cool is that? To have this, one of the greats of Star Wars collecting in your personal collection, to in your home, to look at your collection. I remember it was such a crazy day that at one point my stomach starts growling, and I look at the clock and it's 12:30, and I don't even know if I had breakfast that morning, just because it was so insane, everything going on that day. And then at one point, I think, David, you were still in my house, and Sam and Hannah were there, and it was like, guys, I hate to do this, but bowling starts in 15-20 minutes, and I need to get going so that I can get to the bowling event. And I just remember being exhausted at bowling. We had gotten there late, and I'd gotten some food and just kind of jumped in on a game, bowled a game with everybody. And I remember Jason had talked to the bowling alley and got them to put one of the Star Wars movies on, because it was on TBS they were doing a marathon. Imagine that. And so we were able to bowl with Star Wars in the background, which was just an amazing event. And we got a group picture towards the end of the day. And it was, I think, a pretty epic cap for an amazing weekend. And I just remember coming home and crashing just because it was, you literally were running all weekend. And I also remember texting Jason and Ryan and going, all right, when are we going to do this again?
UK-based collector Jason Smith, known to us as Mr. Palatoy, also took part in the entirety of the Kennesaw Run.
Hi there, it's Jason Smith, Mr. Palatoy, here again to tell you all about the Rogue Fun event last year, and today I'm talking about Sunday, the last day of the event. The main feature of this was something called the Kennesaw Run, which was basically visiting 3 collectors' houses that are around the area and collecting some awesome bit of swag at the end of it if you went to all 3 houses. So we started off in the morning going to Glenn Williams' house, I think was the first on our list, and there's fantastic collection. Lots of Ewoks there. I think I can see in one of the pictures I'm just looking at. Loads of great photos of loads of collectors in Glenn Williams' house in various different rooms. And he had an awesome basement full of stuff I'm looking at now with lots of really great collection stuff in it. I really enjoy that place. And then we moved on to Tim Connor's house, which is dinky little house, but it's Star Wars, and it's all Star Wars, and every room, everything in it is Star Wars. So there's Star Wars kitchen, everything in the kitchen is Star Wars, the toilet's all Star Wars. We don't even know where he sleeps because we couldn't find a bed anywhere. I did ask him, and he was a bit cagey about telling us where he actually slept, but yeah, he had a Star Wars house. Fantastic. And then finally we ended up at Jason Wakuru's, one of the hosts, and he had the screening of Rogue One on the Thursday night, the first night. So back there again, have a look at all this stuff. Just lots of collectors. I'm looking at people's collections, having a great time in there. It was fantastic. And then I think we ended up, after that, we headed back to the Con Hotel. And then the last event in the afternoon, if people were still around, there was a bowling event. So, yeah, there were quite a lot of us there for there, like 30-odd people, I think it was, at the bowling event. And it was really funny because at the end of the bowling screens, they were showing various clips from Star Wars. You've got I've got some great shots of people bowling with like Yoda in the background and stuff like that. Yeah, all in all, it was just a really nice, really nice chill event. I'd say the Saturday was really good, but for me, just the whole bits around it, being able to go into people's collectors opening their houses up and letting everybody come round to have a look. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We should give that a go in the UK. I don't think that's ever been done before, but that would be fantastic. Anyway, in summary, Rogue Fun, absolute fantastic event. They're doing one next year. You should check it out.
And here's Doug Meyer to give us his take on the morning event.
This is Doug Meyer, and my son Will and I from Appleton, Wisconsin, attended Rogue Fun, and we participated in the Kennesaw Run on Sunday. Went to Tim's and Jason's and Glenn's houses, and got to see some amazing collections. I was really fascinated by Tim's wall-to-wall Star Wars from the moment that you walk in his front door. Everything from, the kitchen cabinets filled with Grogu kitchen items to the, the bathroom cabinets filled with, all other sorts of collectibles. It's pretty amazing that the place was just, filled floor to ceiling with all Star Wars stuff. And then, obviously, Glenn and Mandy and Jason and his wife, they had very neat collections as well, and I like the way they did the Death Star plans, make your own Death Star plan thing that you could download the image on your phone. Just very creative, and once again another fun collectible to have and commemorate a great weekend event.
After the Kennesaw Run ended, we headed to the final event of the day, a farewell party at the bowling alley Bowlero. Bowlero was the largest bowling alley I had ever visited. It looked more like an attraction inside of a casino or a mall than your typical hometown lanes. Since our event was a private one, the Rogue Fun team had arranged for us to have our own room, complete with rows of lanes and a bar stocked with pizza. For the next few hours, as our friends bowled, I walked from lane to lane to make sure I had a few minutes with each attendee. We took farewell photos together to make sure we captured the remaining moments of a deeply memorable weekend. We continued conversations that began days earlier, laughing and joking while Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, played on screens overhead. I had assumed the showing was to continue the May the 4th celebration until a friend explained that May 5th was unofficially tagged as Revenge of the 5th by the Star Wars community. For Rogue Fun co-creator Narayan Naik, the Bowlero party was the finish line of the weekend he had worked so hard to create for all of us, and had spent more than a year doing so.
Hey David, it's Narayan Naik from Atlanta, Georgia again, this time going over some of my Sunday memories. And par for the weekend, didn't think I had much sleep overnight on Saturday, so I was still pretty tired come Sunday morning in time for the Kennesaw Run. I knew I had to take Mr. Celestri back to the airport as part of that morning, so I went briefly to Tim Connor's home, said hi to him, and then came back to pick up Mr. Celestri and took him to the airport. Got a chance to quickly do quick tours of both Jason's and Glenn's collection. But by that time, I think when I was at Glenn's, we realized that it was getting pretty close to bowling, and Glenn said, "You got to get out there to bowling because there's people already arriving." And so I, hurried on over there, and bowling was a lot of fun. Actually, I think more people turned out than we expected for that. But I remember the first two frames. I think I didn't have any of my didn't have any bowling accuracy, and I think I got gutter balls on the first two frames, but I actually recovered nicely and was able to get a few strikes in some of the later frames to I think finish somewhat strongly. I do remember Stephen Carvo from the Minnesota group having just an amazing bowling day, and I think he led our group that day. So but that was a lot of fun. Another nice moment was when the bowling venue was able to put on Revenge of the Sith for us in the background while we bowled. So that was a pretty cool moment to see that while we were bowling. But again, I think the main memory I remember is feeling really exhausted. I remember I went back to the car and just fell asleep and took a nap after the bowling was over. And so, before I finally made my trip home. I think I was planning to try to make it to the Revenge of the Sith showing that night, but it was not going to happen because as soon as I hit the bed when I got home, I was out for many hours. So, but all in all, a great weekend, with full of great memories, most of all, seeing all the great friends and people that have traveled from all over the country, all over the world to come for our event, and just a fantastic weekend.
At 3 o'clock, Our time at Bowlero ended, and we began our rounds of saying goodbyes, as many attendees were leaving for the airport directly from the bowling alley. I headed back to the hotel for a few minutes before driving about an hour's distance to visit Justin and Jen Haney at their home. It was so great to see Justin and Jen, and to see Justin's Star Wars collection. Brian Angel and Matt and Teresa George were also at the compound, hanging out poolside and feasting on some of the wonderful food Justin had cooked for everyone. Like with Jason and Glenn, I have known Justin for years, and have seen photos of his collection, but had yet to see it in person. And as a collector, when you tour a friend's collection, you learn so much more about them. You draw closer to them because you learn more about the areas and items that ignite their passion for collecting. You hear the backstories, the memories and experiences that either lead to collecting or that shape them. And it becomes another piece of connective tissue that forms the bonds of friendship. I returned to the hotel a little after 8 p.m. One of the magical aspects of the weekend was that any time you were in the hotel, wherever you roamed, you were always a few feet away from a familiar face. With 200 collectors in one location, it felt like Kennesaw's Hilton Garden Inn belonged solely to us. It was ours for 4 consecutive days. But that night, the Hilton felt different. Gone were the rhythms and activity that our group brought to it. Instead, there were no collectors to welcome you as you walked through the automatic doors. The patrons milling about the lobby were unrecognizable, newer faces, and everything was quieter. The energy we brought as a group was gone. And it was almost like returning to your high school shortly after graduating and realizing the era and the people responsible for shaping it had moved on. I was sad to see the weekend officially come to a close, but at the same time, it couldn't have ended in a better way. It felt like the perfect amount of time, and so many electric and exciting moments were packed into it, along with the peaceful, lazy, comfortable hangouts we all crave as friends. Clifton wasn't leaving until the next morning, so I called him to see if he wanted to catch a late dinner. We celebrated Cinco de Mayo with a trip to a local restaurant offering a mouth-watering selection of tacos. For the next 3 hours, we sat at the restaurant until we were the last diners there. We recapped the weekend, going over the highlights and trying to recall all of the collectors we met over the previous 4 days. We talked about the Clone Wars and about collecting the modern prototypes, as well as what our plans were for the remainder of the spring. Clifton and I began the day with a collector's breakfast together and ended it with a memorable dinner. Not too bad for 2 friends who live hundreds of miles from one another. And that's why these moments are so important during these collector trips. They're the ones that help fuel the friendship during the rest of the year, when we're not in the same locale together. Returning to the hotel for the evening, I said goodbye to Clifton and wished him a safe trip home. I spent the next hour or so cleaning up my room and arranging my clothes, prototypes, and swag into their respective suitcases and bins. I had the start of a long drive ahead of me the next morning, so I decided to sleep in a bit so I'd be fully awake and ready for it. The ride home was certainly not as exciting as the ride there, but I took my time, enjoying the last 2 days of my trip. The days of going to bed at 2 a.m. finally caught up with me, and Monday night's sleep was the longest and deepest one of the vacation. I remember not being able to process the entirety of the Rogue Fun trip during that ride home. and for a while after that. The weekend had been an overload to the senses in the best possible way, and I don't think my mind could wrap itself around it. It took a healthy amount of time and distance from it for me to be able to see the larger picture and to process all of it. I like to imagine it as a very large, very detailed image that took a long time to fully download to my memory bank. At the time, there was so much to comprehend. The activities, the smaller moments, the collection tours, the hikes, the visits to friends' homes, the meals together, the swag, the prototypes, the new friendships that formed. All of it was so fresh that it needed time to settle in my mind. And I think that was the feeling a lot of us shared. It was immense, and it was spectacular. I'll always view it as one of those life-changing weekends. Sharing conversations and laughs and once-in-a-lifetime moments with so many like-minded people is a true rarity and a true gift. And that was given to all of us by Narayan Naik, Glenn Williams, and Jason Wasuko, the architects behind the 2024 Rogue Fun weekend. They and the Georgia team welcomed us with open arms to Kennesaw and put their all into making it a worthwhile adventure. I don't know if they'll ever be able to fathom the impact Rogue Fun had on our community. I've been able to see the ripples from it over these couple of years, through the friendships first established at that Hilton, through the projects that have stemmed from those building relationships, and through the meetups and events that we've attended together since Rogue Fun. The community has expanded in a meaningful way, feeling both larger and more tightly knit at the same time now. And the Georgia Alliance followed in George Lucas's footsteps, giving us another example of making the impossible possible through a spark of creativity and through passionate teamwork. So I'd like to conclude this Rogue Fun series with some parting thoughts from our friends. Here's Susan Kowalski, exactly a year after the event, reflecting on Rogue Fun from the most magical place on Earth.
Hey, this is Susan. Right now I'm at Galaxy's Edge in Florida on May 4th, and man, this is reminding me so much of Rogue Fun. I'm here with a bunch of friends, and that's really what Rogue Fun was for me. I got to see so many people that I knew from the Star Wars community that I just don't have an opportunity to see because we live all over the place. So not only do we get to spend time listening to some incredible speakers, we had incredible swag that people created and gave to each other, which is always a fun thing for me. But my favorite memory is really just having the time to spend getting to just sit and talk with friends that I hadn't seen in so long. It was almost like a mini celebration to me.
And here's Doug Meyer on why Rogue Fun was so meaningful to him and to his son.
So this is Doug Meyer again talking about our experience with Rogue Fun, Will and I, and I would have to say that, prior to Rogue Fun, we were at the previous 6 celebrations, and Rogue Fun just put a whole nother level of collecting in fandom for us. It really broadened our friend network, and we are just so fired up to learn that another event's going to be coming in 2026, and we are going to do everything in our absolute power to attend that, because Rogue One is going to be a permanent fixture in our future Star Wars con tours for sure.
And finally, I want to end where it first began, with Jason Wasuko. Here's Jason with a heartfelt closing thought.
Hey, this is Jason Wasuko, and I've been trying to put together my thoughts for the entire event of Rogue Fun, and I've come to the conclusion that what made the event special is the people. I really appreciate everybody who came. They traveled all that way, no matter how far it was. You came to this little event that we put on, and we appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the volunteers who helped put this thing together. I appreciate everybody who, put together panels. And people stepped in at the end of the night, too. When we were taking things down, there was people who volunteered who, were just attendees who helped pull down things. And so, I want to thank everybody, and I hope to see everybody again soon. And you guys really rock, and you're the reason why we did it, and you're the reason why the event was as special as it was. So thank you.